Welcome to the podcast Lead the Future, the Alt Summer Series. Each podcast, I will ask 3 panelists an authentic leadership transformation question. In short, an Alt question. This Alt question was part of the Alt Summit's second panel discussion titled Find New Language to Create the Future. I'm Arjan Visser, a human-centered futurist, and I'm your host. The call to lead from the inside out is inseparable from the language we choose. The words we speak are not mere descriptions of our world, they are generative and acts that shape our reality. They become the architecture of our future identity. In these conversations, we explore how to find, own, and embody the very language that calls your authentic future into being. We begin this exploration by asking a fundamental question. What's the power of language to shape our future? The words we use are far more than sounds. They are the seeds of who we are becoming. Our panel discusses why finding your new language, authentic language, is the most urgent work for any leader right now. It is the first and most crucial step in articulating the future only you can create. Let me briefly introduce my 3 panelists. Benj Street, a serial entrepreneur and innovation accelerator. Benj is the leader who creates experiences, asks bold questions, leads by example, and is always believing there are greater things or more and better things are possible. His passion lies in shaping businesses that make space for leaders to step up and for teams to step into their core identity, unlocking the full potential and stretching their vision of what is possible. Secondly, Deb Brown Maher, an eliminator of authenticity. She believes that everyone benefits when we are free to discover, activate, and actively live our true selves. Her core premise is simply yet powerful. When individuals embrace who they truly are, they are not only unlocking their own potential, but also contribute to culture, mutual respect, honor, and encouragement. Shane Pope, an international business director, and maybe even more interesting, he's a facilitator of the convergence of personal and professional life. Shane is on a mission to redefine businesses as a deep personal endeavor rooted in identity, purpose, and impact. He challenges leaders to see their work not just as a means to an end, but as a force for good that unlocks the potential in themselves and those around them. My first question is, based on the power of language in shaping your future and the role that words have in unfolding your future identity and shaping your leadership, that the question for me is, why now? Why is finding new language important at this moment in time?
I think I kind of have to start with why words a little bit, because well, for me, I'm an external processor, and I know not everybody is, but I think a lot of people probably are more than they think they are. And words change stuff. Words create stuff. Words trigger thoughts and emotions. Words change atmospheres. And similar to you, Arjan, you know, that journey of transformation through renewing and reinvigorating, reinventing my mind has definitely been a journey of transformative words and changing the words that I speak. And I think where I am on that journey now, the urgency increases the further I go on. because I recognize the benefits that are yet to be realized from doing it and from starting now. I think I told you on another call a little while ago that picture that I have of a flourishing tree. Why why do you want to see change? And why would you do something about it now? Because the greater clarity I get from the benefits in the future urge me to do something about it now, and not to wait, not to miss out, not from a fear of lack, but from a excitement of what could be.
Yeah, remember you gave that example of like why to plant a tree today. And the saying is, well, if you want shade in 30 years, you need to plant it today.
Yeah.
And fooling around with that statement, it was a bit like, well, why plant it today? Because I forgot to do it yesterday. In that kind of tension, it could be that it's also the stage of life. Oh, that sounds old, but it is like midlife is that stage of awareness that it matters what you do. So Deb, what would be your take on it? Life coming towards you, life happening for you. What are your thoughts?
So when I think about words, I think about the meaning that we assign to words. And that invariably originates in perspective or filters that we have acquired through life experience. And so a defining moment for me, a real turning point, was one day when I was actually complaining to God about my circumstances. And the question, why me? Why did I have to go through this? And what I heard in my mind as an answer to that was, what if it isn't about you? What if it's about others that you're going to be able to influence because of what you've experienced? And that brought a paradigm shift for me. You talked about Bethel being a shifting point for you and Sasha. And I started asking myself a different question. Instead of why me, I started asking, what if this is happening for me, for my benefit, instead of why is this happening to me? And that has been life-giving. I continued to choose to ask myself the right question, which is, what if this is happening for me? Whenever I start to feel put upon or victimized or put under, depressed, oppressed, instead of allowing myself to go down that negative emotional trail, I stop it by asking, I get out of the reactive emotional brain and into my logical brain, and I say, wait a minute, what if this is happening for me? What is good about this? How can this help me? How can this help others? And it completely changes the atmosphere. So that has been a real key to me, helping others choose language to change their circumstances.
I like that. All right. It just brings back so many memories when you shared this a couple of years ago in our family, you know, when something really was like whatever side you turn it, you know, you could only complain. You're pushed in a victim mentality. And by just saying, even if I don't see it, even if I don't see it for a long time, but what if this is happening for me?
Mhm.
And just have that open mindset of expecting to know anytime soon what that contains.
Yeah.
That anticipation, that's really like a breakthrough, a deal breaker, that you can just help yourself to set yourself up for. I love it. Shane, the first question. Of course, it's not the hardest, but it's the first time. So I love it when you say, but it is personal. Business is personal. So what's your take on this question? Why is it so important to not wait any longer to actually find new language to express who you are becoming, and so on and so forth?
Yeah, and I think, and riffing off what Benj and Deb have been saying, you know, how language reveals what's going on the inside of us. I think that's one of the fastest ways to figure out what's really going on inside of me. What do I really believe? What do I really value and hold true and love? It all comes out in what we do and the words that we say. And so I love what the guys here are saying about choosing new language. It helps us, you know, if we're aware of what we're saying, it helps us to understand what's going on, and then we can reframe our perspective, like Deb was saying so well. And I think for me now, if I look at the language that's being used out there in the business world, on social media, and it's so much of it is deeply, I mean, there's so much opportunity to connect these days, like we know, but so many people are feeling so isolated and alone. I think there's that sort of, you can distance yourself, you know, physically and emotionally, use a whole lot of words, but they don't really connect or resonate because we miss that personal, we forget that there's a person on the other side of this discussion thread or this business deal, you know. And I think that we can head down a terrible path, I believe, if we keep that mindset. So to me, that's why the urgency now, you know, our language reveals what's going on inside of us and who we really are. And if we're going to steer and be part of steering this world in a good direction, we really need to know what's happening on the inside of us and be able to express that through the words that we speak.
Yeah. It gives you that measurement stick for making decisions that are truly connected to who you are becoming. It gives the internal input to resist that meeting external expectation and get away from the comply and be authentic. And in business, that is, well, we all know, don't take it personal. It's just business, you know.
Right.
Not to tick you off today, Shane, but you know, we all hear that once in a while.
And again, that someone using that sort of language just tells me what's going on inside of them, you know, where they're at, and you're like, okay, yeah,
and I know from you that you that communicates, that don't take responsibility for their own maturity, their own growth, and they don't own up to it. The dialogue doesn't end here. It's your invitation to continue the journey. I invite you to engage with your own insights below, or to step directly into the Alt Forum with us. The Alt Forum is our weekly, thought-provoking space for the forerunners, forward-thinking leaders and pioneers who are ready to catalyze their authentic leadership transformation. I will share how you can experience this powerful forum first and decide later. The link is in the description. Just use it and book your own experience. The link is alt.businessrevivalist.com/forum. I like to share from my personal notes the gemstones that I wrote down from this episode. Words change stuff. Words create stuff. Benj elevates language beyond communication, its creation. He reclaims language as a transformative act, not a descriptive one. Words don't just reflect the future, they build it. Benj also uses a timeless metaphor of build the tree today, not because of fear, but because of hope. If you want shade in the future, if you want identity, purpose in the future, plant it as a tree today. There's where your urgency and your agency meet your language. The third gemstone is, what if this isn't happening to me, but for me? Deb uses this game-changing reframing to shift from a victim to a visionary through just one question to model how language alters identity and agency. It's not semantics. It's about spiritual leadership. Reframe what you experience by, it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. The next gemstone is, the meaning we assign to words come from our filters. According to Deb, this is foundational in transformative coaching and leadership. Meaning is not neutral. Our words are shaped by wounds, stories, and systems until we choose new ones. Language reveals what's going on the inside of us. Shane reframes language as a diagnostic insight. Our speech becomes a feedback loop, revealing alignment or dissonance between our identity and expression. Words that do not connect reveal disconnection from the inside. Shane calls out the emotional detachment plaguing digital communication. Language isn't neutral. It either builds bridges or it builds distance. Shane challenges the illusion of impersonal business. I want to thank the panelists, Benj, Deb, and Shane, for their richness, their deep insights, their vulnerability, and the wisdom they shared with us. I also like to thank you for tuning in, and I'm looking forward to read your insights, your comments, your questions, and I really want to urge you to step into who you are becoming. And the best way that I can help you is to invite you to experience the alt form, the place for forerunners, forward thinking, feedback loops. So I give you the link. It's in the description. And use this link to just plan, schedule, book your experience. Join the alt form, experience it first, decide later. The link is alt.businessrevivalists.com/forum.